Well, hello and welcome back to the channel, people. I've decided to do this because of the Louisiana oil spill last Thursday and the mess it's actually made in the Gulf of Mexico, and just to say how many there have been over the decades, and it kind of puts things in perspective regarding that odd EV that goes on fire or the odd EV battery that becomes a lemon, in comparison to what big oil can do with its disaster after disaster. Let's take a look. Well, hello and welcome back, people, to the channel yet again. You know, I keep putting these videos together and I love doing them, and this weather outside, I planned for this to be all outside, and this weather has turned. It's wet, it's cold, it's rainy, it's windy, it's bloody awful. Okay, talk about climate change. Okay, joking aside, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, thank you for popping in on this one. If you are a subscriber, thanks for coming back. If you're a subscriber and you've been a subscriber for a year and a half or nearly 2 years now, why are you not watching this? You should be. Anyway, let's move on. This one's all about big oil. Now, I don't normally get involved with the politics side of EV world, or I try not to. Now, I'm going to be the first to say straight away, I don't believe that Stop Oil, the people who are sitting down in the streets and stopping traffic, have got it 100% correct. So I wouldn't put coffers in their collection bin. So this one is all about pollution. Now, pollution, this is a real big one, and I'm no scientist, so I'm not going to get into the vein of saying this, that and the other and trying to prove my take on this. And like I say at the beginning of all my videos now and all my posts on YouTube, I never put anything that's fake news. I do my bloody homework before I open this, unlike a lot of people out there who are just ranting about garbage they know nothing about, especially when it comes to electric vehicles. The biggest antis out there on YouTube and on TikTok are people who don't even own them. People who enjoy still driving 20 to 25-year-old cars and will never change because my granddad never needed one, so I don't need one. Wow. Okay, about a week ago, before I made this post, 1 million gallons minimum, probably edging towards 1.5 million gallons now, have been spewed into the seas from a broken 67-mile long oil pipeline. This oil pipeline is very raggedy in areas, very sketchy. So this 1.1 stroke to nearly 1.5 million gallons of crude oil that's actually gone into the sea now has never been mentioned by any ICE YouTuber that I know to. But I find it very strange how ICE YouTubers and ICE TikTokers never mention anything bad about ICE cars. It's always bad about EVs. And I don't get that. Now, please remember that you are looking at a person with 40 years plus of ICE ownership. I've not just gone into motoring and bought my first car, which happens to be an EV, which a lot of people seem to think that EV owners have never ever owned an ICE car before. That I find astounding, as if they don't know nothing about ICE cars. You know, they've never filled up, they've never paid the tax on fuel, whatever. Of course we have. I've done it for over 40 bloody years, and that's why I wanted to leave it behind. I find it boring. So let's get on with this pollution thing I'm doing today. This is not a first. This happened twice before as I can remember. There was a major spillage as well around the shores of California, which killed a lot of wildlife and hurt marine life. This will do the same. This is killing things in the ocean which really should not be killed. I am in a minority. I am still in that small 10% of EV ownership within the UK and within the world basically. So I'm up against 90% of everybody watching this who's still an ICE car driver. So who will still support the way that they drive, the way that they live, because they don't like change. Now, I'm going to say on this channel as well, because you can see it here, look, above me, okay? Electric first, dyno fuel or fossil fuel second. I've said that from day one when I set this channel up, and I still believe that is the case. You cannot simply just stop producing oil now, today, at this time. You can start coming away from it within 2, 5, 8, 10 years. And hopefully within the decade, there will be far less exploration for oil. Well, I know it's obvious it's going to be. You can slow it down. You can, increase EV ownership and get away from cars and trucks using oil. But there is still a commodity for that oil at the levels it is today. And hopefully as the levels come down, there'll be less need for it. There'll be more man-made synthetics for lubrication, for example. You know, the pollution that happens from the oil we produce today is massive, but it never ever gets the media attention what one EV fire can get, because of YouTubers and TikTokers not seeing these and opening them a bit wider to look at the bigger picture. Why they are picking on things like EV fires and battery replacements regarding electric vehicles, when something we've used for over 120 years is still polluting this planet we live on in such massive ways that it doesn't get reported on, to me is a worry. To me is a worry. It's a cover-up. And don't get me wrong, if you 100% get your news from YouTube and TikTok and you think that's real life, then sorry, but you're out of touch. And if you believe just by looking at a few EV fire videos, EV battery lemons, that is what EVing is all about, you're again out of touch. If you believe that big 1 million, 2 million, 3 million gallons of crude oil into oceans on a weekly, monthly basis is nothing, then you're completely out of touch again. Rethink, people. Rethink if even in 2023, what big oil is doing to you, your planet, me, my grandkids, and everything else. Now, do I believe that we should stop you know, looking for oil now, today? Well, I do believe that there's no real need now for any more exploration. I do believe we want a lot more investment. That pipeline needs a lot of aftercare. It's probably not happening because they can't even find out where it spews oil out or half the time until someone sees it and goes, oh look, there's oil. Then they go and find it. Which goes to prove that they're not really caring, are they? Okay, I hope you're getting the gist of what this video is all about, and that is that it's fine for people to moan about the odd battery degradation and the odd rare EV fire. But why are these people not mentioning anything to do with their own backstory when they're using ICE cars, and that is the oil industry and what it's done to the oceans? Now, the oceans and the oil spills are just one tiny bit of what's happening and what has been happening for many, many decades regarding pollution from big oil. So they start with exploration, they start digging holes in the ground, so the pollution is there instantly, straight away, with all the machinery that they bring in to start and get the oil out of the ground. So anyone who says that EVs pollute through mining, yes they do, obviously everything has a pollution around it, but EVs make up for it in later life because they don't pollute. Cars, i.e. ICE cars, will always pollute out of an exhaust system. So that's the slight difference there, folks. Then this big oil refinery is built, which takes masses of power. Then they use cobalt in the refining side of the business. But then to get the oil out the ground, they have to burn off all the gas first, which you see, which pollutes the atmosphere by burning off the gas, LPG, propane. Then while that's being burnt off, they're digging it, they're sucking it all out from the bottom of the ground, bringing it up. It takes a vast amount of power to do this. Then it's got to be shipped somewhere. So again, vehicles ship it places. It uses, i.e. like that 67-mile pipeline, busts all the time and creates hazards in the ocean. So there's always a massive pollution circle around everything to get that final pump in that service station, in that filling station, in that gas station, as my American friends call it, to go and pump your gas. And as you're pumping your gas, and you can smell the petrol or the diesel, the fumes that you're smelling are still going into the atmosphere. Then you start your vehicle off away from that. Well, by the way, it's cost electricity to pump it up to that pump. Then you drive away, then you pollute out your exhaust. So the whole process of driving a non-EV is pollution. The whole process creates a massive pollution ring around it. So for any ICE person or driver, and don't get me wrong, I've said this before, I've had over 45 years of ICE ownership, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm not green in that aspect of things. So every turnkey of your car, you're polluting. Every time they try and explore for it, it's polluting. Every time they try and refine it, it's polluting, all the way through the process. Wow. Wow. A bit of lithium out the ground and a few rare minerals to manufacture an EV, I just do not see how it can be more polluting than that 1 gallon of fuel that you're pumping into your vehicle at this very time. I don't get it. And I'm going to sit here now, and I'm not going to say that an EV is the saviour of the planet and the world. No, do not even go there, because I've had that chucked to me many, many times, and that to me is complete BS. And I'll say that now. I'm factual. That if you can buy an EV now, you should do. If you can buy or afford a used EV, you should do. And I say that not only because I know you'll save a bit of money in the long term, but also you ain't going to be polluting the planet with your toxic exhaust fumes out the back. So think about it, think deeply about the pollution. The Blue Water Horizon spill was also a human tragedy. 11 people lost their lives on that rig and what happened, plus all the ocean life, plus all the cleanup, plus the billions of pounds that BP were sued and fined. And was it enough? Well, you figure. Go figure. Is it worth all this pain and anxiety and death? I don't think so, but that's just me. will be a few of you who have found this a bit disturbing regarding the animal pictures and the birds and the seals and the dolphins and everything else. And like I say, I've only just touched the surface. See what I did there? I've only just touched the surface regarding the ocean spills. And these happen, you know, every year, guaranteed, somewhere around the world. I'm just poking out the ones in the Gulf of Mexico, the very small one in Indonesia that I've mentioned, California. But these happen all the way around the world in the oceans. You know, Russia does the same. And so remember how much things are being polluted and how much is being killed just to run cars. You know, it's unbelievable. The quicker we come away from fossil fuels for personal transportation, the better. We have now a solution to that in electric cars at this moment in time. I will say that hydrogen is never going to happen. If it did happen, it would be a bonus to come on board. But even if you used the two, hydrogen and electric, just to get rid of all fossil fuel transportation, that would be great. And I think that's the future. So hopefully my grandkids wouldn't even dream of sitting in a fossil fuel car, and the only fossil fuel cars you'll come across will be those in museums collecting dust. If you can use an electric vehicle for any of your personal transportation or work or even commercial use, you should do it. There you go. Anyway, I'm out of here. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope it's made one person at least change their minds. Hope you found it useful. Again, if you're not subscribed, please do. But I am an EV evangelist and proud of it if that's the case. Yeah, I've been called it a couple of times this week, so I don't mind. We'll catch you all later. Bye folks. Look after yourselves.